Imagine a dark, futuristic sci-fi helmet from a galaxy far, far away. I can probably guess what you're picturing now, but imagine it less futuristic, far away, and instead of being worn by bad guys in space, it was worn by bad guys in Iraq. May the 4th be with you guys, as today we're diving into one of history's strangest military helmet curiosities, the Fedayeen Saddam helmet, often nicknamed the Darth Vader helmet. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Retro Retriever, and today we're exploring a unique intersection of pop culture and, well, sadly, authoritarian propaganda. So you're probably wondering, how did a design inspired by one of the most iconic villains in cinema end up on the heads of fighters in Saddam Hussein's paramilitary force? Well, stay tuned as I'll be unraveling this mystery. Oh, wait a second, this is the wrong helmet. Okay, that's better. So to understand this unique surplus helmet, we first need a bit of background. The Fedayeen Saddam were a paramilitary force founded in 1995 by Udain Hussein, the eldest son of Saddam Hussein, to be fiercely loyal to Saddam and ensured no political internal rivals took a foothold in Iraq or external threats that could hurt or rival Saddam. Known as men of sacrifice, these troops were also used for smuggling, internal security, and even unconventional guerrilla warfare during the tumultuous years leading up to and following the 2003 invasion of Iraq. At their peak, estimates put their numbers between 30,000 and 40,000 fighters. So, where does the Darth Vader Star Wars connection come into play? The striking design of these helmets wasn't just about functionality, as you can plainly see. Saddam's oldest son, Uday Hussein, was an avid Star Wars fan, and he envisioned a symbol that would make his father's regime even more intimidating to its enemies, which its main one at the time was the United States, a country whose population was very familiar with the villain Darth Vader. The result was a jet black helmet with a smooth, imposing brow line that covered the back of your neck and was reminiscent of the iconic mask worn by Darth Vader, a design choice that fused science fiction aesthetics with the harsh realities of military equipment practicality. But the story behind these helmets runs deeper than just a cool design. In authoritarian regimes such as Saddam's, appearance is everything. The Darth Vader-esque helmet wasn't meant to protect, as you can see. It's heavily lacking in the metal and Kevlar department. The real aim of the helmet was psychological warfare. Its dark, futuristic design was intended to inspire fear, create mystery, and project total authority on the battlefield. Pretty much what Emperor Palpatine was going for with the Empire. This melding of pop culture and brutal state power created an image that was terrifying to Iraqi civilians, but absurd and funny to US troops. The intended psychological impact on US troops was non-existent, as many of them shared the same thought you're probably having right now, about how the helmet looks goofy, impractical, and just generally unsuited for combat. The helmet was perfect for the Fedayeen Saddam when their biggest threat was unarmed Iraqi civilians they could push around. But once put up against the US military, the fact that it was not only ineffective psychologically, but also practically was quickly shown. Although their helmet was impractical and goofy, it is worth mentioning that unlike a lot of Republican Guard and other Iraqi military units, the Fedayeen Saddam were known to be some of the most fanatic fighters in the Iraqi military, often responsible for many of the most deadliest attacks on US forces at the beginning of the war. They were also known to not surrender and often committed suicide bomber attacks on US and coalition forces. Now, before we go into the helmet's legacy, let's take a quick look at the example I have here and the Fedayeen Saddam uniforms overall. So this particular helmet was picked up at a gun show a few months ago, and even came with the black Type 56 AK magazine chest rig that Fedayeen Saddam fighters would be issued with. The guy who sold it to me was an Iraqi war veteran, and he said he picked up this helmet and rig while on deployment. Now be wary, as sadly, like most surplus collectibles, there are fakes of these helmets and rigs, but the guy who I bought it from showed me pictures of him wearing it in Iraq, and there are a few quick ways to tell a fake from an original. For the Type 56 rig, people often try to pass black Chinese ones as Iraqi ones, but you can easily tell them apart as the Chinese ones are strapped with leather, while the Iraqi rig uses metal hoops. For the helmet, on the other hand, a lot of reproduction ones were made in Italy and are often passed off as the real Iraqi helmets. To tell the difference, simply check their inner lining for a deep green color shown here. If you see a light green color, then this is an Italian reproduction. Another quick way to tell is by measuring the badge on the helmet, located on the right-hand side, that says, for those who are curious, Allah the country, the leader, in Arabic. The real badge on Iraqi helmets will be 1.85 inches wide and 1.24 inches high, while reproduction ones will be 1.74 inches in width and 1.32 inches in height. There are a few other ways to tell reproduction helmets from the real ones, but if you're curious, please check out Bob's post on Gentleman's Military Interest Club. I'll have linked down below in the description. Now that you're familiar with the helmet, let's take a look at the uniforms that the Fedayeen Saddam wore. They had two uniforms, an all-black one that was worn during combat. This would be the uniform that the Type 56 chest rig and helmet would be paired with, and they had a second new uniform that was all white that was used during parades. The Fedayeen Saddam would later ditch these easily identifiable military uniforms and operate in civilian attire to confuse and ambush coalition forces. Today, this piece of military memorabilia stands out as a crown jewel in most surplus helmet collectors' collection due to its bizarre blend of film iconography and real-world conflict usage. While the helmet might evoke images of Darth Vader, it also reminds us of the delusions of a dictator and his family, as well as the heavy price paid by those living under regimes that mix speculation with oppression. The Darth Vader or Fedayeen Saddam helmet is more than just a rare curiosity and relic in one's collection. It's a conversation starter about propaganda, psychological warfare, absurdity, and the ways in which rulers manipulate symbols to control and intimidate. What does it say about a regime when it chooses to dress its enforcer in gear modeled after a sci-fi villain that's known for killing younglings and innocent civilians? Alright guys, if you found today's deep dive into the Fedayeen Saddam Darth Vader helmet and its pop culture roots as intriguing as I did, please give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment with your thoughts, and hit that subscribe button for more military surplus content. What's the most surprising surplus helmet or piece of militaria you've come across? Let's discuss it in the comments down below. Thanks for watching guys, and stay frosty. Also again, have a happy May 4th.